And joining me now for more on all of this is Republican Congressman from Texas, Dan Crenshaw. Congressman, thanks so much for getting off the floor after just taking this vote and joining us. I really appreciate it. You voted in favor of holding AG Garland in contempt. Why?
Well, I think that's our duty as the basic checks and balances of our government. We're asking for things from the executive branch. We subpoena those things. They won't give them. You can hold them in contempt. Now, why do we want them? It was said earlier that it's for naked partisanship, that it's to embarrass Biden, show how he's old and doddering and forgetful and all of that. As you pointed out, everyone can see that all the time. That's not really the reason I think we want the audio recording. It's already been admitted that the transcripts have indeed been altered. They said they were minor edits, but an alteration is an alteration, so why not just give us the audio recording so that we can actually see what it says? And here's what actually matters. It's intent. Yeah. There's two different scenarios, and they're very different. In one scenario, a bunch of staffers packed up a bunch of classified documents leaving the White House and, accidentally packed them somewhere. And whether it was Biden, Trump, or Pence, they just didn't really know about it, right? That's one scenario. Another scenario, which is the one that we know to be true, is that he intentionally kept those documents, knew about them, and indeed had intent to talk about them with his biographer. So that's the problem, and that's where I think this oversight's actually pretty important.
Your fellow Republican Harriet Hageman said that the transcripts alone were not sufficient evidence of the state of the president's memory. Why not?
I'm not sure. I can't speak to her comment. I'm sorry. I don't even know in what context it was made. Again, I'm not overly concerned with the state of his memory or his mental state. Like, I can see that every single day. I don't need these documents to show that.
Right.
I'm much more concerned with his intent to keep classified documents that could be damaging to national security and intent to use those in a conversation with a biographer.
All right. I do want to get your reaction to what the remarks from the Democratic ranking member, Jim McGovern, on the Rules Committee, who said this is all a distraction from the fact that the Republican nominee for their Republican nominee for president is a convicted felon. This is what he said. They have all admitted that their investigation into President Biden is over and they have found nothing. It's a political stunt, end quote. What's your reaction to that?
It's just an ironic comment to make because the felony charges against Trump were also a giant political stunt and also meant to be a distraction. We can't find any lawyers that think that was a good case, by the way, that was a well-done case. Find me any credible lawyers that think those felony convictions would stand up to appeal or would be applied to literally anyone else. And so, look, they always open the door to this kind of stuff and then clutch their pearls when someone does it back to them. In the end, what this is about is oversight. It's oversight and it's checks and balances. And that can mean between the branches of government, and it also means between political parties. Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's democracy. And so I'm not going to wring my hands about it, but I think the people should understand that.
Members of your party have accused the DOJ and Merrick Garland of unfairly prosecuting Republicans. As you just said, you think that the case that was brought against Donald Trump, even though that wasn't a DOJ case, a local district attorney case, was bogus. Yesterday, though, the DOJ, through its own special counsel, won the conviction of Hunter Biden on felony gun charges. Democratic Senator Bob Menendez is currently on trial. How can you still maintain they're only going after Republicans?
Well, I never said that. That's not a quote from me. But look, you should go after anyone who breaks the law, and it should be applied fairly. We could do an analysis of how fairly that really is applied. One thing I was going to bring up to you guys is, because this is from my home state in Houston, DOJ and HHS are actively prosecuting a doctor from Texas Children's Hospital for blowing the whistle on illegal transgender surgeries on minors. Claiming HIPAA violations when, in fact, he did no such thing. Right? He anonymized all the information. I thought they protected whistleblowers. So, yet another example of a politically motivated prosecution. There shouldn't be any politically motivated prosecutions. The rule of law should be the rule of law, and it should be equally applied. That's our standard. It should always be our standard.
All right. I just want to switch topics very quickly. You are a veteran. You were on this show not long ago talking about the importance of psychedelic therapy and treating PTSD for veterans. You had proposed legislation to further that aim. There's new reporting on a brand new Pentagon analysis out today that more American soldiers are dying of suicide now than any other reason. Soldiers are 9 times more likely to commit suicide than to die in combat. Last week, the FDA voted against using psychedelic therapy for PTSD. Are you going to continue to find some way to try and push this treatment? Because a lot of vets have said it saved their lives.
Absolutely. I don't think we should be too down about that. That was an advisory board. That was not the FDA. That's an advisory board to the FDA that recommended against it and had problems with the way that trial was designed. There's a lot of things that have happened since then. One, my legislation is now law, which forces the DoD to actually do those clinical trials. More data is better. Another thing that's happened is that the FDA has actually been forward-leading, and they have recently created guidelines to design those trials. That was not done before this particular trial took place. And so this is not our only bite at the apple, right? This one denial by one advisory board is not the actual denial. The actual decision happens in August, and it may very well follow the advisory board's suggestion. But it's not the end of it's not the end. It's not the end of the road for this.
What's going on, Congressman, with what's happening with our soldiers? I mean, you served. I'm the daughter of a man who spent 30 years serving. What is happening with these soldiers right now?
Look, that's an hours-long conversation, and we still won't come up with an answer because it's impossible to get inside of someone's head sometimes. I have a good friend who killed himself, and the day before he was perfectly happy. With his family and with his new command, all of it. It's almost impossible to see this stuff coming, and we always demand answers when they may not be there. I did look at the numbers from the military statistics, and the reality is they're not actually that different from the general population. The military is overwhelmingly male. The male population, generally speaking, has a much higher propensity for suicide. Once you match up those numbers, it's not as different from the general population. Certain conditions, certain types of deployments and duty stations lend themselves to more suicides than others. There's a lot of factors here.
Yeah.
All I know is that I know of one treatment that seems to help, and so that's why I pushed for it.
Well, I hope you continue to push for it, and you're welcome back anytime to talk about it. Thanks, Congressman Crenshaw, for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.